Hi guys, this is Viper. So I want to talk about something a lot of people ask questions um, about how do you exactly defend the throne. Um, this part is actually very interesting. There are a few ways to do it. Um, Generally, so let me start with what you put on the throne. If you go anything except ground and range, you're basically weakening the throne. um, I will come to this later why, like why is it a weakness if you put calves or siege. But generally, the basic principle here is you put anything except ground and range in defense, you're weakening the throne. So that's what we are trying to hit, really, ground and range, right? So what's the most optimum way to beat it? The most optimum way to beat it is, of course, by theory, it should be siege and cav. Like, you siege the arch out with the T11, get a great power exchange, and then just cav the ground, which is just decimates the ground. If you can have the siege to the same power as how many ranges they have, you can adjust that. Then you're even on the first hit, and well, I mean, the second hit, you go major positive. Now, what's the issue with siege and cav? The issue with siege and cav is if your siege cannot go through their range in one hit, sorry, go through the siege layers in one hit, it won't touch the range. And if by that time, uh, like if their ground reaches your siege, the first hit will just plat. And then the second hit, which is a cav hit, will again get targeted by archers, will not do so well. So yes, I mean, if you can just clear the siege layers, just run a little layer rally and clear the siege layers, then you go siege and cav, that's the way to go. But most of the times when you are actually defending throne, you're defending against like someone who is probably better buffed than you. That's why they come for your throne, right? I mean, um, beating SVS is one thing. Taking throne is more dominating, I would say. So no one would come to throne and play in the same buff. I mean, that probably won't end up well. So yeah, so you're basically looking at basically looking at something you can't probably, you are out buffed by a fair 200-300%, right? So one way to actually do it would be, just to do a full range on a ground and range. I know that sounds crazy, but if you have the higher numbers, like if you're at say a 40 million rally versus 30 million on the throne, 16 million ground, 14 million range, let's say something like that, that 40 million arch will have some, have some free rounds on the throne, on the ground, like before they come in range with your opposite archers. So that 40 million range with enough at attack will kill the ground. And then it's range versus range when their archers come in range with your archers. And you will win that because you have the numbers. It also depends on, like what their ground HP is. It's not a, it's a risky ploy, like if their ground HP is high enough and their ground can reach your range before your range kills their ground, well, I mean, that's not going to go well. But yes, I mean, theoretically, with a higher number, a full range can kill ground and range. So, but now I'm coming to the best, what I think it is. Uh, the best way to do it is definitely calves and ground. Your calves with enough HP actually hit their ground, kill their ground, and by the time, at least like kill majority of their ground, and the rest of the ground remaining are just swept by ground. We did this against Hot. Somehow, like all those reports are deleted. We just ran cav and ground every time, and it worked. Like no matter what they did. In the final one, they put like 10 million calves. Didn't stop it. Calves and ground decimated everything. Always does. So calf and ground is definitely the safest way to go about it. Now, why do I say that, like siege is a weakness? Because siege is primarily a weakness because, like if the most common way to attack is cav and ground, I mean siege is weak against both. So what do you do with siege there? And I saw like even calves like I think the hot throne had like two or three people like around 10, 11 million put calves, didn't do anything to stop it. Like the cav killed cav and ground, the ground just decimated everything else. Doesn't help. Or like if you put calves there, someone can just solo range it. Like just solo range to kill the calves, then go cav ground, no problem. So yeah, ground and range are the only things you should put in the throne if you're conquering, and cav and ground are the way to attack. So now like I just want to show you some report we had from the previous SVS, where they actually we were matched against a server where we outbuffed them by quite a bit. So they did it absolutely right. They did cav and ground, but as you can see, like in the report, if I their buffs are a little lower than ours. So yeah, I mean, just not enough mounted HP here to actually, like me, mountain and boss were with our range marches. We're talking about three people with 2600, 2700 range. The mounted HP is just not enough. And if you see here, right, another thing that they missed out was uh, their marches are normal, right? Like mounted troop 1.5 million, T12, 1 million, 313, 540,000, T15, T14. Here, okay, he has more T14, but again, looking at it here, where is his T12? Okay. Yeah, but it's not really heavy T15. If you look at my march here, right? Let me just show you my march here. 2.8 million T15 right there, and 1.6 million T14. I generally go 3.5 million T15, but I didn't have enough T15 archers because I had to put a march in the throne, which was a ground in the blessing tower, which was ground and range mixed, and so I did not have just enough archers to put like 3 million arch in. So here they couldn't really clear out our ground with the calves. If you see, like Aaron has some ground left. About like he has only his T15 died. Uh, D4 has some ground left. So everyone had T14 ground left, and that's why when they did their ground, uh, against like I mean the ground just got stopped at the ground while our archers were targeting it. This is why you can't do a ground first, because like again as I said, it's expected that the person who's conquering has a higher buff, right? So your ground gets stopped by their ground's defense while their archers keeps getting free rounds at you. This is a little different from like the building mechanics are a little different. Ground doesn't always beat range because range is targeting your ground from far, while your ground gets stopped by the opponent's ground and can't reach the range. So it's a little different. And like you can't always go with the fact that ground beats range here. It's a little different here. So yeah, so that's why you just don't do this. So I have some this is what we did to RSP's throne. I'm sure all of you guys remember it, right? So the first one was the ground, but we were very close to buffs, like close in buffs between me and Shri. So my ground, like our ground, just killed a lot of their ground, right? And anyone who had ground was out. like Shri, Oz, like sorry, not Oz. Uh, the archers survived, the siege survived, but Singh's all Singh's grounds are dead. Death again, all death ground is dead. So once we do that, then our archers can just like, just go for the kill. Uh, Again, if I am given the choice, that's not how I will do it. I will cav and ground every time. But yeah, ground and range worked for us. Probably not the ideal way to do it. So I also want to show something very interesting here. Uh, so this is how you not do it. So if you see this throne, they hit with ground first, and again, like the rally was smaller. Plus, let me look at the buffs. Uh, yeah, the opponents like Hitman's buffs were a little better, not a lot better because he's getting throne protection. So yeah, probably similar buffs, but overall I think NQG has better buffs. But ground against ground and range is just not the thing to do. Uh, you can see the rally capacity. The rally is a little lower, but you can see this is a horrible power exchange. And then they hit with calves, which was even worse. Uh, Now, why is this an absolutely not a good thing to do? Because like if even if their ground cleared, and let's say AIO's ground cleared NQG's ground, um, then also like what is left in the throne? Archers. How do you calve archers? What? That's just not right. So let's see what they had left. They had a lot of ground left. uh, Kara had ground left. Tiger had ground left. Yeah, a lot of them had ground left till the second one. But yeah, I think if they followed it up with another like after the calf, if they did another ground, they would have probably like cleared the throne. But well, that is what it is. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope if you have a throne fight, this will help. All right, bye, guys.